Hey guys, it's me. Communication is very important in a strategic based video game. It's not just limited to Valorant or CSGO, it can be extended to games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, Rainbow Six, etc. But in low TTK shooters like Valorant, CSGO, and Rainbow Six, communication plays a major role. I have divided this video into 4 parts. First one is the introduction, second one is the advantages of communication, especially how much pro teams depend on communication in the higher level. The third part of this video focuses on what communication you should be doing, what calls you should be giving out. The fourth part gives live examples from the CS pro scene and the Valorant pro scene. Valorant currently does not have any pro leagues like CS does. Like CS has Faceit pro leagues, CS also has Ranked for North America. Valorant currently does not support third-party matchmaking and third-party league organizations. So, there aren't many voice communications available of Valorant online, but I have picked some from CSGO. I have taken some examples from Valorant communications from organization videos like G2's official communication videos and stuff. They aren't the most accurate representation because organizations post joking kind of videos. So anyway, every single game, including Valorant and CSGO, depend on the core aspect of communication, which is very important in any scenario. Let's get right into it. I've already gone through the introduction. What exactly is communication? Communication is basically you relying every single information and you receiving every single information from your team and to your team. Your brain is a interconnected network of computers basically. It's not just a single computer. It's a completely interconnected network of computers. And it processes information subconsciously and consciously. Every single tiny bit of information goes into your brain and you will react to that even without you knowing it sometimes. Communication plays a major role in such processing. Every single form of communication in a strategic game is important because every little detail that you get provided from your team and you provide to your team makes your team prepare for that scenario that you propose. In the higher level plays, communication plays a very major role. Every single pro team has incredible aim, incredible team and stuff, but they still cannot be the best if they do not have a proper communication system, proper coordination, and proper teamwork. All of which is possessed by very few teams. One of the greatest teams of CSGO, which is Astralis, if you look at their voice communications that they have provided on YouTube, they are coordinated, communicated, and they perform extremely well together. Such communication is important for any team to succeed. It is very difficult to achieve, but Astralis have done a very good job. Anyway, let's get right into it. What exactly is communication? What you should be communicating and what you should be receiving. The basic thing you need to know is, of course, the callouts of a map. Usually, if you have spotted an enemy or if you want to name a place, you need to know what it is called. For example, this is B side, this is B back, this is market and stuff. You may have your own callouts and stuff. CT and stuff. That's one basic thing that you need to know. What you need to be communicating is the following things. It's briefly the following things. Basically, there can be more than this, especially since in a game like Valorant, where everything is dynamic and keeps getting added, this may change with time. You need to project your thoughts in the form of communication. Whatever thing that you're going to do, you need to also project that in the form of communication. If you have a doubt regarding a spot, you need to also answer that in the form of communication. Basically, say I'm trying to enter B side. Say I'm going to peek here, right? Most people, what they do is they simply peek like this and just move on. What pro people do is they're going to relay what they're going to do. So they're going to say I'm going to peek B main, 3, 2, 1 and stuff like that. Like what they do is some pro teams, what they do is they have a teammate coming together, and once he comes here, this guy tells get ready to peek, and he says peek in my 1, 3, 2, 1 peek, something like that. They rely communication. Whatever they're going to do is projected. If you spot an enemy, you have to say where you have spotted and who you have spotted. For if you spot Race CT, you cannot simply be quiet. You cannot expect your teammates to watch the map at all times. What most people do is once they spot someone, they just simply hide and they just wait for engagements to happen. They don't relay the information to their teammate that, oh, Killjoy is in market, Race is in market. This information may not seem big but subconsciously in every single player that's on the map that you're relying the communication to, they will reflect that information subconsciously without them knowing. It's very important. So if you spot someone, say where they are, say who they are. And if the enemy throws any utility, say that as well. Suppose Killjoy throws a molly, you gotta say Killjoy molly B main. If Raze has mollied from CT to B main, you gotta tell that Raze is mollying B main. If you say that Raze has mollied B main, your teammates will know that Raze cannot have another nade, and they will do their strats based on that. They will reflect based on that, and they will work on that. That's very important. If you see someone taking an orb, and if you see someone having an orb light up all of a sudden, you gotta tell, oh, this guy has taken orb, he has his ultimate ready, so be careful, he may be here. Another thing to relay is the stuffs that you want someone else to watch that you have a doubt in yourself. For example, you are watching a flank, right? You need to tell first of all, you need to tell, I'm watching a flank, I'm not going to push with you guys. So you keep watching it for lurks and stuff. And once you leave the lurk, you gotta tell, I'm not watching a lurk anymore, I'm going towards mid. These things are important because suppose you have a teammate here. He now knows that you are not watching flank. So he knows that if enemy hasn't peeked, he can be here or he can be somewhere else over here. So he has time to push and he will be ready for any pushes that come in like 10 seconds. So he knows that in 10 seconds there could be a push. So he watches back for a second and then comes back and does stuff like that. That's a subconscious response to your call that you're not watching A flank anymore. And you gotta be vocal about anything. If your people are pushing upside, right? If you have a team, 5-man team that's over here, and they're trying to push up the main, and you say that I'm peeking and stuff, and then Sova says, everyone needs to talk obviously. Sova says that I'm going to drone here, and he starts droning, and he drones here and there. If you want to do specific thing, you gotta call it. If you are a jet and you want to dash, you say that I'm dashing here, and then dash straight away. If you are a Viper like me and you're telling that you're going to molly triple, you gotta say I am mollying triple. I call it triple, of course. There are various names for this box. If you want someone to smoke heaven, you gotta say you're smoking heaven. If you're doing something, you gotta tell that as well. So if you're smoking heaven as a Viper or woman or whoever, you gotta tell that I'm smoking heaven. And especially with Viper, where communication is very important. If you have a wall and the wall, you have to say that I'm putting my wall up. If your fuel is going down, you gotta say that your fuel is going down, my wall will be going down. This information is important because your teammates will be ready to reflect on what is going to happen. They will be ready for anything to happen. Communication is important because it will keep your team morale high, and if anyone messes up, they will not blame others because you're already giving the specific call regarding what's going to happen, so they cannot blame you. And they will have to blame themselves if anything wrong happens by accident because of them. For example, as Viper especially, if your wall is going down and you do not tell people that your wall is going down, and if your teammate is here and he gets caught off guard and dies, he's going to blame you. He's going to extremely blame you. And that this morale will be continuing throughout the match, and we don't want that. So you gotta tell them, my wall is going down, get ready. Communication can get very hectic. That is one thing you need to know. Pros face this hectic communication every time they play, but they are used to this hectic communication, so their mind is used to processing all this hectic information to get a clear picture. You might have to train to do the same. You need to rely every single thing that you're telling. If you're reloading, I am reloading. If you're blind, I am blind. Help me, I'm not peeking. If your teammates are pushing and you don't want to push, you have to say, I'm watching lurks, you guys push. You gotta give this information. Whatever you're going to do, you have to tell them. If you know Cypher is backside, you gotta say he's backside. If someone asks you where in backside he is, you can mark it here on the map somewhere. Another important reason for communication is that if you communicate to your teammates, I will guarantee you, your teammates will start communicating to you. It works every time. People do not talk unless they are being forced to talk. That's a fact. So if you want your teammates to talk, especially in a solo queue matchmaking, you're gonna have to communicate yourself as well. Only then your teammates might respond to you. If you're closing door, I am closing door. Such small informations are necessary. If the door gets broken, you're gonna have to say that the door broke. You have to tell this information. It's very important. For example, you want to take this orb, you have to tell your teammate that can you come help me pick the orb. I'm peeking in 3, 2, 1. I'm taking the orb. You have to tell that I'm taking the orb, because your teammate will then be ready and he will be ready to watch both the angles. Otherwise, he'll probably just watch this angle, then this way. Once you tell that you're taking an orb, he will watch this angle and then he'll also watch Vines just in case. This subconscious information, as I am stressing enough, is important. Now I'm going to give some live examples from the field, from the pro scene. I hope it helps you guys. Notice how they will give the call of what they're going to do and what's going on around them. They will also tell that don't speak heaven, I am having your heaven. Like suppose there's a guy under, you're saying that I'm having your heaven, don't peek heaven. He's not going to peek heaven and he's going to watch probably short or something.
There. From Sentinels. Pure domination, and Immortals not letting it shake them just yet.
He's on the corner, in the corner. 3 there. Left side.
Popping box and bottom mid. 2 bottom mid and 1 on the
Wait, get back, I'm mauling, I'm gonna res. Hold with me. Hold with me. I'm trying.
They're breaking.
One's low, 50 HP.
I give up. One's up there. Yo, I'm pushing B, I'm gonna push B.
You wait,
Okay, I'm gonna go. No.
I'm stuck.
Push B.
He's going sewer to...
Eh? Okay.
I heard him
Could be
go
up
sewer.
here.
I'm gonna go. No, I'm hiding inside.
We have a trip, I'm gonna leave.
Insight.
Downside.
Both.
The one's low, one's really low, but he's
Bombs
gonna
can
kill.
peek him.
Yeah, pick him.
Under heaven both.
Can you peek with me?
Yeah, they're close under.
Under heaven, last one, close out.
Wait,
I'm
I'm
seven to
Just chill. Bombs down here, just chill. Wait. We have it. Yeah.
Bomb's down right there on the ping.
Call it. Peek.
Nice. Good game.
I'm gonna kill this guy underpass if you guys could just stay alive. Just stay alive, guys. Okay, don't die. I'm flanking.
One's underpass.
Oh, might have went back to B. One's B.
One cat.
Wait, I'm gonna kill this guy B. Don't die.
Bomb down B.
Cat.
Good shit. Capo.
Let me get this gun.
You can get the guns. Yeah.
In the smoke.
You mother.
The flash?
That's a ring. Could be heaven.
Nice! One more coming in.
Dead.
Nice!
33.
Nice!
Nice, 33.
They left.
I have an egg. Clear heaven.
Go inside.
Last two? Okay. There's a cam.
I'm about to flash out.
Got a ring.
One
Flashing,
flashing.
flashing underneath. Flashing sight.
Holy shit.
He's blind as I'm stunning him. Oh, he's on
Nice!
Good job, boys. Could be in the smoke here.
I have
3 flashes. Okay.
Can you stun sight?
Yes. I have camera.
I will flash sight. Flashing. Flashing one more. Sight dead.
Long
Copy.
last.
Wait, bro. Wait.
I'm doing this.
Nice!
Nice! Let's go, baby! One long.
Tell me.
That's how?
3 long, 2 more.
Too long. Too long last.
Nice. That's long.
I'm watching you fight.
Yes.
Nice!
Nice, David! Let's go!
Camera buff.
Picking camera.
Stand well.
I broke it. Planting.
Watch your garage.
He's spamming me. Spamming me.
garage.
I smoke you off. You can go back. Trust me. You can go back. Nice.
Chill.
Someone hold garage.
I'm behind. Playtime.
Party, can you go all the way around?
Yeah.
Are you holding garage?
Yeah.
Someone?
Me to hold.
Party will in a second. Yeah.
Defusing?
They
Tap
know
it.
about me. 70 on Sava.
No one defusing.
Double doors dead. 70 on Sava.
I'm ulting. No one on bomb.
Don't pick. One right side, one left side. Right side. Flashing.
He's not defusing. Don't peek. Let me play.
What do you think?
Yeah, let me play.
Jeg prøver at gå midt med Aven, okay? Ja, han lister bare ud. Krille, han var 1 punkt her. Jeg kan arme ting, så. Det er lidt ærgerligt.
Jeg pikker lige scout af her.
Ja, det er fint.
Det er ikke sikkert, de er AV, det tror jeg sgu ikke,
Ja,
hurtigt.
Stepper meget af. Stepper rigtig meget af.
Sidste tag af. Ja.
Det er deres B-spiller. Det er længere ham der.
Ja, I må bare gøre B. Ja, de var altså alle sammen.
Sælger B. Vi kan dobbelt-hold sidste Emil, hvis de kører.
I må plantet i stedet for bare at spille deathmatch.
Nej, lad os lige dobbelt-hold.
Okay.
Jeg sidder altså
bare
med alle flasher.
Ikke op. Trækker næse, tror jeg bare.
Ja, de trækker bare nate.
Holder I, hvis de kigger på midten og...
Jeg har en midt. De er glade for at sidde smokes.
Nej, kigger midt på.
Bare lige smoke. Trækker jeg lidt her.
Jeg står klar med face. Stop mig bare. Står klar med face. En hold Ali, og så en hold base.
Jeg holder midt på.
Ja, det er skoldt. De må ikke stå kran, de spammer for sygt.
Ja, vi har godt nok ikke
Smoker
smoker
nu.
Smoker her. Smoker her.
Vil vi frem i dem, eller?
Jeg står frem.
Ja, gå frem base.
En op, død.
Jeg har en.
Boost Magis, boost Magis.
Ja.
Mere op, på vej op, sand-agtigt.
Ruller nu, jeg er ude.
Ruller Nico. Jeg baler.
Retake.
Jeg går ind i smoke.
Mange.
En midt.
Lygt.
En mere.
Nej, sgu da, hvor du vil, Andreas!
Der ligger et her nu.
Wonder if those are
Nice. I went back B.
was watching.
You down to plan the smoke dub?
Yeah, I'm smoking. One side. Oh, we're nutty, dude. That was like fucking Jason Bull.
Green left, right, where is
I got your aim in.
I'm all aiming. He's A in this way.
check wall.
Inside. Pushing A forward.
Oh, the clutch.
Can be peeking hookah. I'm not peeking it.
Copy.
As well.
I come back.
Phoenix ult. I'm not peeking. I'm not peeking.
They're gonna peek a little Phoenix ult.
Stunning Phoenix. Flashing. Yeah, go. I'm with you, Vic.
Pick up me, pick up me. Pick up me.
One star, one star.
Flanking hookah, flanking hookah.
One star, Vic.
One enemy remaining.
I think I saw it.
Nice,
Last
nice.
side. I'm just watching my
Nice! Let's go!
Octagon, one octagon, octagon.
Yeah, long.
I got your hookah, I got your hookah.
Two more.
Your hookah.
One enemy remaining.
Dead hookah.
Could have TP'd back on, no?
Yeah, technically, yes, yes.
There, blasting him, blasting him.
I'm blind.
Hookah, watch out.
Hookah. Molly. In the molly.
I can ult.
They have sage.
Flashing above your head. Fall back if you need to.
Phoenix ult, right?
Trying to cover you.
Yeah, it's low. It's hookah.
I'm ulting hookah, watch out, get out.
Dead, I killed Phoenix ult. One more, I'm nading.
Sorry.
They're gonna run back, they're gonna fall back. Can we gamble 3-8 right now? Alright, good.
I have hookah.
Please, 3-8. Come on, someone.
Maybe res me.
I can't. I'm inside
You
hookah,
are
bro.
now.
You will not kill my ally.
Hookah. One more. Nice, Kev.
Let's go.
Under guy.
I'll tap the bomb, I'll tap the bomb.
Okay,
Stay outside the site,
okay.
stay outside the site.
Flashing outside,
Swing.
flashing outside.
Swing.
Backside.
I'm nading it.
Hold side.
I might have went
Here,
CT.
here, boys. I'm gonna tap it, hold on.
Tap it.
Tapping it.
Go, tap again, tap again.
Wait, he's gonna ult mid-site. Stick it.
One hookah TP'd.
CT clear, CT clear.
Stunning hookah.
I have ult.
Peek hookah off me, okay?
You're hiding long corner.
Yeah, CT full clear.
Could they be elbow?
Get closer.
No.
Hiding long corner. They smoke me long.
Can you peek with him? I want to use my ult.
You have an ult as well, Yeah, stay
Nothing
around.
long. Nothing long. Hookah out.
Came out elbow. I knew it.
1 HP.
I'm ulting, I'm ulting.
He has no heal.
Go.
Wait for bomb, please.
I'm holding my push.
You guys were both lit.
Taking.
One enemy remaining.
Nice!
Q highway, I guess.
Really?
I'm going Z, yeah.
Highway dead.
They're quite big. I think it's big.
Nice calls, dude. I had fucking no clue that shit was open. He was just walking white truck. Back of him, man.
I'm truck.
Last guy.
Where? All down, dude.
One in me. One in me, one door.
Coming.
One's in there. Maybe flanking me.
He's fucking heaven.
Yeah.
I'll come. Whoa.
Flash heaven, Josh.
Flashing, Josh. Ready?
Flash.
Nice.
Good flash.
Thank you.
And yes, that's a complete guide in communication. I will probably update this communications guide when things change in Valorant, when more things get added and edited. And of course, even I am still learning everything. Communication is not easy because if you're an introvert like me, it's really hard to get communication going. You can only communicate when you're with your team, when you're with your friends. That's a bit difficult. I hope it I hope this video has given you an insight regarding how communication works in high level and what basic things that we need to be telling. I'll see you guys later. Peace.